So now we are doing quite some recap about this maximum exchange ratio. Anybody who is able to remember the formula of getting maximum exchange ratio? Thank you very much. Take your call. So maximum exchange ratio, maximum exchange ratio, maximum exchange ratio. So we have here maximum exchange ratio. Maximum exchange ratio is EPS of the targeted company. EPS of the targeted company all over EPS of the predator. All over EPS of the predator. A very, very important formula. This one, there is no way I will ever go to any mergers or any exam without remembering this formula. This formula is so important. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is number one. I would want to see at this particular juncture whether there is anybody who can be at a position of remembering this formula of getting the non-diluting offer price. Non-diluting offer price. This is what we called in this case here NDOP. NDOP. I'm so sure there are students when they pronounce this kind of a word, they'll not be able to pronounce N, but we shall overcome. All of us are Kenyans. No, just for time. Never forgot to share notes. NDOP. The easiest way that I taught you that you should always be remembering this formula with this particular metric with very fast is at any time you want to get NDOP, always think about maximum exchange ratio. Think about maximum exchange ratio. Think about maximum exchange ratio times MPS, not MPS of the target, but MPS of the predator company. 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 Very, very important. And if you would want to derive this like what I'm seeing Mr. George doing there, Mr. George is a bright student. I've already been able to see this. He's a bright guy. If you want in this case here to derive this, remember we said that NDOP, if you want to use the longer formula, it is PE ratio. It is PE ratio of predator. It is PE ratio of predator times EPS of target times EPS of target. And what Mr. George is telling us there is that this PE ratio, of course, he knows the formula. It is MPS all over EPS. MPS all over EPS. So it is MPS of predator. MPS of predator all over EPS of predator. EPS of predator. I hope they're able to see this. Price earnings ratio. Price earnings ratio. So it's price of the predator, earnings of the predator, times EPS of the target company, times EPS of the target company. And then you remember very well in our last class what we said, you and I. What we said, you and I. What we said, you and I. What we said, you and I, is that mathematically, if you are given here 5, if you're given here mathematically, if somebody gives you, for example, 10 over 5 times, for example, 4. 10 over 5 times 4, this one here equals 8. This one here is 8. How have I known it's 8? It's because 5 goes 2 times in 10. And then 2 times 4 is 8. 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 And then, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. Commutative law. It's called commutative law. Commutative law, where you can easily switch numbers. Whenever there is a multiplication, you can switch this and this without breaking anybody's bone. Without breaking anybody's bone, you can change. So it means that you can easily come and say here, I'm changing this. It will be 4 over 5. I'm just swapping the numbers. 4 over 5 times 10. This is still okay because remember in multiplication, I can still have this going here twice and still giving me 8. If you remember, this is very correct in terms of algebra. Very correct in terms of algebra. Very correct in terms of algebra. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen. I would want to swap this and this. I want to swap them. I want to swap them. So to swap them, this is what we have. I'm swapping positions. So then I will talk of EPS of target company all over EPS of predator, all over EPS of predator. And then I can now take MPS onto the other side, multiplied by MPS, MPS of who? MPS of predator, multiplied by MPS of predator. And then, ladies and gentlemen, of course, when we began by saying that this rings us some bell in our minds. EPS of the target all over EPS of the predator, that is what we call maximum exchange ratio. This is what we baptize as maximum exchange ratio, yes. So in this case here, my non-diluting offer price will be equal to maximum exchange ratio. Maximum exchange ratio times MPS of the predator. Very, very, very important. Very, very important. Very, very important. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today, after you write today's date there, I would want us to mention something very important. So I want us to write today's date there, very first. Today's date there, it's very important to have notes which are dated. Very important to have notes which are dated. They're very important to have notes which are dated. So, ladies and gentlemen, what do we have here? Today we are looking at what we call post-acquisition. Post-acquisition, 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 post-acquisition earnings, post-acquisition EPS, post-acquisition EPS. So once you write like that, could you kindly put your thumbs up if we are together as a signal that Mwalimu continue? As a signal that Mwalimu, we should be able to continue. Great. Esther says yes. 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 So then I would want to, in this case here, start my class by asking a simple question here. Very simple question indeed. Do we have anybody in this class who is married? Is there anybody in this class who is married? Please be proud. Like Marcelena, great. Josephat Ouma, Wanjiro Getonga, Cecilia. Great, Anderson. Yes. Great. Great, William. William. Do you want to tell me that in this particular class, there are no singles? I mean, which corner should we put those students who are singles, not yet married? It's like all of them are married. All of them are married. There is nobody who is available. That's very good. Now listen and listen and listen and listen and listen and listen. Silas, I've seen your comment there. That must be a crazy comment. We shall overcome. Great. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen. You see, this EPS stands for, in full, it stands for earnings per share. It stands for earnings per what year? Per share. And for us to be able to get earnings per share, we normally take the total earnings of the firm. The total earnings of the firm all over number of ordinary shares. All over number of ordinary shares. All over number of ordinary shares. This is so important as we begin. The session, today's session, is quite, in this case here, zeroing in this thing. Post-acquisition earnings per share. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's good to know that there are students who are married. Once in this case here, of course, you got married, the concept here is that all of us lost our identities. And then we formed, in this case here, this one body of God, which in this case here says that you are your wife's best keeper. You are your man's best keeper. You're not supposed to be having anybody's any secrets, I mean, between yourselves. Listen and listen to me very well. What does this mean? It means that when we talk of post-acquisition earnings, per share. Post-acquisition means post-marriage, after marriage. So after marriage, then we are supposed to have one joint account and combine our earnings. After marriage, you're supposed to combine our earnings. So then we shall talk over earnings of the husband plus earnings of the wife. So remember, these are supposed to be in one joint account. And the only signatory to that account, is who? Is there somebody who can guess? The only signatory to that account is who? The only signatory to that account is who? The husband, yes. If you want to see places that you have never seen before, trust your man that much. That's why in this case here, you were put up there at the head. Trust your man that much. Trust your man that much. All right? All right? All right? Never. But you guys told me you're married, didn't you? Right? And remember, we are talking of merging. We are coming together. Don't tell me that you married a person you don't trust. That is a topic for another day. That's a topic for another day. So you take, in this case here, earnings of the husband plus earnings of the wife, lock them. The wife to throw her key to the man. The man, in this case, being the head of the family, should be able to run the family finances. All over, then we have nose one. Always, whenever you see us using the word nose, nose stands for a number of ordinary shares. Number of ordinary shares. Nose, whenever you see nose, stands for a number of ordinary shares. Plus number of ordinary shares of company 2. But now remember that company 2, which happens to be representing the wife, must be exchanged, must be multiplied with what we call exchange ratio. Exchange ratio. So please don't forget that this nose stands for number of ordinary shares, number of ordinary shares, and this ER stands for exchange ratio, and then we have EJ. J can be a number like E1, E2. So this EJ is the total earnings. The total earnings, and in our case here, total earnings would always be the profit after tax part. Profit after tax. Please write up to here. And once you write up to here, could you kindly put your thumbs up like this? Could you kindly put your thumbs up like this? And as they put up their thumbs as a signal that Mwalimu should be able to continue. Now, the guys in this case, you told me that they are married. Sorry for getting into your personal really spaces. I don't do this, but for the sake of the subject, is there anybody who is married here who has some secret asset? Like you have a title deed somewhere that your wife doesn't know. You do not want even the wife to see it totally. Or the other way around. You have a title deed that you do not want your husband to know. Please be very honest with Mwalimu. Never cheat your Mwalimu. Never cheat your Mwalimu for the sake of this subject. For the sake of this subject. For the necessary week. We shall overcome them. Okay, for the sake of this subject, okay. But the most important thing, please, we shall never hide anything from our husbands. We shall, after this lesson, because we are saying that mergers, we need to lose our self. We need to lose our identities. So they're going to be born into a new creature, after marriage. We shall overcome. Okay. So please, I hope you guys are able to remember this one here is profit after tax. I hope you're able to remember, or you write in full. You can write this in full. PAT is profit after tax. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, there are two types of exchange ratios. Right there for us, that there are two types of exchange ratios. There are two types of exchange ratios. There are two types of exchange ratios. There are two types of EJ. EJ stands for this E, earnings company 1, earnings company 2. right? J is a number. So the total earnings for company one, total earnings for company two. So J is just a number. You can call it EI, or you can even call it E1 for earnings for company one. Great. EJ, this E. You see, like where we have here EPS equals earnings company one, earnings company two, all over nose one plus nose two times exchange ratio. So this, you can even write this like this. You can say E1 is total earnings of company two. Of company one, sorry, company one. Then you say here E2 is total earnings of company two, like that. I hope that helps. Instead of writing J, J is just a common thing. J is a common thing. Great. Thank you so much. So then I would want us to revisit the question that we were doing ourselves here in our last class, which we never finished, that we should be able to finish today. Is there somebody who can remind us this question was coming from which sitting? Which sitting was this question coming from? Is there anybody who is able to remind us the sitting there? Anybody who is able to remind us the sitting there? Yeah. Where part is applied. You see part, these earnings in finance, in financial reporting, earnings attributable to ordinary shareholders are profits after tax. So he came and said here equals to part, equals profit after tax. Great. May 2015, question number 5A. 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 So then I should be able to come here and project this thing. Great. May 2015, question number 5A. Are we there already? Is there somebody who has been able to get that question? Is there somebody who has been able to get that question really? Are we there? These guys, are they there really? Washafika hapo ama bado? Great. Looks a bit faint, but we shall overcome. We shall overcome. Okay, it's not even in this revision kit. Sorry. So remember here, we had two companies, right? We have two companies in the question here. We have two companies in the question. And if I remember very well, we had done Roman 1 and Roman 2. So today we were supposed to start with Roman 3, where in Roman 3, they want us to give them post-acquisition EPS. Roman 3, they want us to give them post-acquisition EPS, post-marriage, post-merger. After marriage, we expect in this case here the earnings to be combined, not unless you're another one. After you've gotten married, this is something that you came to willingly. So we expect in this case here the earnings to be combined, So what I'll do, I will come and write for my examiner that post-acquisition EPS equals earnings of company 1 plus earnings of company 2 all over nose of company 1 plus nose of company 2 multiplied by exchange ratio like that. Multiplied by exchange ratio like that. Multiplied by exchange ratio like that. They're saying, Mwalimu, it is May 2017. Sorry. It is May 2017, question number 5A. Thank you very much. It's May 2017, question number 5A. Thank you very much. So once I write like this, your examiner is merciful. I'm telling you, if CASNEB wasn't merciful, people would not be passing at all. Your examiner is very merciful. Once you write like this, at least you have one mark like that. Now come here and tell us there as a note that there are two types of exchange. There are two types of exchange ratios. There are two types of exchange ratios. Number one, we have maximum exchange ratio. Maximum exchange ratio. And then now we have the normal. The normal exchange ratio. 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 But also remember, we normally provide videos. You have a video for this particular question, please. Because of time, allow me just to do from Roman 3. Because of time, you can always make reference to the previous video. It's only fair that way. Remember, all these guys, like 8 guys here, were in the last class. If you start from scratch, and I've already done what we call a recap, you know, professional recap is supposed to be 15 minutes. Anything more than that is waste of time. To really not be fair to everybody. Great. So there are two types of exchange ratios. Number one, we have maximum exchange ratio. And then number two, we have what we call the normal exchange ratio. If the examiner specifically asks you to calculate maximum exchange ratio, then there is a formula that I've always wanted you guys to cram, which you guys, I'm so sure you can narrate down very fast. But maximum exchange ratio, if they talk of maximum exchange ratio, this formula we know. Maximum exchange ratio equals EPS of target company. Like it was asking number one, EPS of target company all over EPS of predator, all over EPS of the predator, all over EPS of the predator, all over EPS of the predator. That's maximum exchange ratio. Not unless the examiner specifies that they want you to get maximum exchange ratio, I'll always think of this normal. Now, when we talk of normal exchange ratio, this normal exchange ratio, here you look at the offered price, the offer price. How much has been offered by the predator? The offer price, and then you divide this by the MPS of the predator. You divide this by the MPS of the predator, MPS of the predator. Before I explain anything further, is it possible for you guys to highlight this? You highlight this using a yellow highlighter, not any other color, yellow highlighter. Is it possible for you guys to highlight? Thanks, Marcelena. I can see you're already thinking ahead. It's called ACCA. In ACCA, we tell the slogan there is to think ahead. Think ahead. So have you used a yellow highlighter to highlight this? Don't use like an orange highlighter. That doesn't bring things out very well. These guys are they're talking to me. Have you used a yellow highlighter? Pink, no, Shiko. Pink, okay. I know ladies like my dad will always tell me, my dad, my room has to be color pink. But in this case here for our class, we shall always be using yellow highlighters. And that is why I normally buy all my students who don't have these highlighters. I normally buy them, all of them, yellow highlighters. I can see somebody who is texting me here, inbox. Are you part of government? No. I'm not part of even nothing. I know the color that brings out these things conspicuously, highlights very well, is yellow. I'm not part of nothing. I'm so busy. I don't even have time to think about those things. Great. Great. I'll tell you how you'll get these highlighters. I'll tell you how you'll get them. I'll tell you how you'll get them. I'll tell you how you'll get them. So come here, ladies and gentlemen, please remember that maximum exchange ratio is that exchange ratio that safeguards the EPS. The EPS that safeguards the EPS from any dilution, So maximum exchange ratio is that exchange ratio that safeguards the EPS from any dilution. You know, outside there in the US, in the UK, when you are a CEO and the company that you are heading here, you're leading here, has been posting an EPS of 10 bob. You would always want this EPS to be safeguarded. Safeguarding EPS is always ensuring that you engage in anti-dilutive activities that will not lead to reduction of EPS. EPS should not be reducing as a CEO. In the UK, in the US, if your company's EPS sheds down more than more than a quarter, more than 25%, if you lose more than a quarter of your EPS, the CEO in this case here goes home. You don't even need to get anybody's letter. It is just automatically known that as a CEO, your major role is to safeguard the earnings of the shareholders. But of course, here in Africa, you and I appreciate the fact that here you would rather die than resign, isn't it? That's why we get like the CEO of Kenya Airways is always giving negative earnings, and he's ever there telling us a lot of nothing. And yet he has been given a whole pride over Africa. Mawingu, right? You give me those kind of assets, I'm sure I'll be able to deliver what here, so long as there is no government interference. I will be able to deliver, positive earnings straight away. What makes like our neighbors, the Ethiopian airline to blow so much in terms of profits, and then we are getting negative profits, getting losses? No. So any exchange ratio that you would accept, which does not lead to dilution of EPS, which does not lead to reduction of EPS, will be called the maximum exchange ratio. Maximum exchange ratio. All right. It is also known as the non-diluting exchange ratio. It is also known as the non-diluting exchange. It's also known as a non-diluting exchange ratio. It's also known as a non-diluting exchange ratio. We shall overcome this. It's also known as the non-diluting exchange ratio. Non-diluting exchange. I'll explain further about this. Otherwise, any other type of exchange ratio that we don't care about our EPS, if we don't care about how our EPS will behave, then that one will be the normal exchange ratio. Then, ladies and gentlemen, when do I get to know which exchange ratio I'm required to compute? You look at the question. Like this question, they have given me an offer price. Are you able to see in this question, we have an offer price of 20? Are you able to see this question? They have given us an offer price of 20. These guys are not able to see that offer price of 20. There's a price which is offered there. So when there is an offer price, always calculate the normal exchange ratio. So we are saying in this case here, a hint for our exam, that when offer price is given, always calculate the normal exchange ratio. Always calculate the normal exchange ratio. I wish if this hint in this case here, you could right away hit it with a yellow highlighter. I'll be so happy. I'll be so happy. And if you're making use of those yellow highlighters, is it possible for you to screenshot your book? You screenshot your book and then you share, not book, the whole book, but just a page. And then you share with us that photo on WhatsApp. I want to see whether students are following instructions. Great. So like in this question here, an offer price of Kenya shillings 20 is given. In this question here, an offer price of Kenya shillings 20 is given. And therefore, our normal exchange ratio, will be the offer price all over MPS of the predator, all over MPS of the predator, all over MPS of the predator. So the price offered, we shall overcome. I'll repeat again, 𝐶𝐸. So the price which has been offered there is 20. The price offered there is 20. Before I repeat for the sake of 𝐶𝐸, go to your two columns. Column A, remember A was the predator company. B was the targeted company. For column A, is there anybody who is able to see the market price per share? For column A, is there anybody who is able to see the market price per share? 𝐿𝐶𝐸 tells me 40. 𝐿𝐶𝐸 tells me 40. 𝐵𝐺𝐸 tells me 40. 𝐵𝐺𝐸 tells me 40. Again, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm able to see here very fast that the only ladies who are giving me answers are those ones who are, as one was saying, married. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. So 20 over 40. So this gives me a half. 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 We don't write just 0.5. Exchange ratio can never be written as a decimal. Don't forget that. Exchange ratio shall always be written in form of a fraction. Don't forget that. So come back to this gentleman's hint, 𝐶𝐸. The hint there, we just hinted the fact that whenever you are given an offer price, which in this case, actually for your revision, you can say into bracket shillings 20. Whenever you are given offer price, always compute the normal exchange ratio. Whenever you are given an offer price, like in this case, shillings 20, we shall always compute the normal exchange ratio, and then you highlight with yellow. You highlight with yellow. You highlight with yellow. Thank you so much. And then, of course, to get this normal exchange ratio, we are taking the offer price all over MPS, not like MPS of the predator, which was able to give us a half like that. Then let's get back to business. Remember, our business, ladies and gentlemen, is to come here and ascertain, the post-acquisition earnings post-marriage. You take earnings of company 1 plus earnings of company 2 all over, in this case here, nose 1 plus nose 2 times exchange ratio. Ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. This is a very important formula. So in this question, is there from that table, is there somebody who is able to see the total earnings of company 1? And I've always seen students here for some reason. That's why I normally tell you when you go to exams, please pray. Because Satan is live. Satan is real. And Satan is not a joke. Satan is not a joke. Kumushinda yataka maombi mingi sana. Usicheza na shetani. Ni hatari kabisa. Ni hatari. Kamtu hatari. Kamtu sugu. Unapata hapa sasa, sinafaa kuwa total earnings. Unakuta mwingine from nowhere anasoma figure ya EPS. Imagine. Anasoma figure ya EPS and yet you are dividing with number of shares. You need Satan. Right? So please here, I don't know how you can put it, but here in the numerator, we use total earnings, not earnings per share. We don't use this. We don't use this in the numerator. We don't use this. Actually, this is what we are calculating. This is what we are calculating. So then, is there somebody who is able to see total earnings of company 1? Total earnings of company 1. Total earnings of company 1. 30. Victor. 600 umetoa wapi Victor? Akiweda kule table Victor. Just go to that table, Victor. There's a place where they have given you total earnings. At times they call it profit after tax. Victor, just check again, Victor. Just go slowly to that table. I hope you're doing this question, Victor. This one here. And then Victor, if you're able to see that 35, Victor, put your thumbs up like this so you can continue nicely. Victor, I'm waiting to see some thumbs up like this. Or even ask a question. Ask a question if you don't mind. We don't want to force you, but at least that Victor has not yet spoken to me. Just go to May 2017. I'm so sure maybe when I mentioned May 2015, that's what is confusing you, Victor. You retrieve that question of May 2017, go straight away to where they're giving you total earnings. Total earnings. Victor, I'm still waiting to hear from you. I hope you'll be able to ask a question. So total earnings of company 2 is 300. All over, no, this is number of ordinary shares of company 1. Number of, great Maggie, it is net income. Net income means what your profit after tax. Thanks for raising that. Actually, I don't have that question. I don't have the question. So they're calling it net income. Remember, you accountants, net income is the same as profit after tax. And that is the same as what your earnings. So then if it is net income, Maggie, my sister, if it's net income, you cannot deduct tax again. Already they have deducted tax for you. They have deducted tax for you. So is anybody who is able to see number of ordinary shares? Number of ordinary shares. Thanks, Silas, for that question. I'll be able to answer it in a moment. Number of ordinary shares for company 1. For company 1, 𝐬𝐿 tells me 10. How about number of ordinary shares for company 2? Number of ordinary shares for company 2. What is somebody 2? Times exchange ratio, which is what here, somebody, which is a half, which you have just computed. A half. It's part 3. Part 3 of the question. Part 3, Brian. Thanks for asking. A half. A half. So somebody has asked there whether this a half is supposed to multiply to, in short, is asking me whether you're supposed to have brackets. Again, the devil is a liar. We shall always rebuke him. You can imagine a student who comes all the way up to here and then he puts a bracket. You see here, this exchange ratio is only affecting this. It's affecting that. And for the sake of body mass, apparently not body mass ni shetani ingine. Sitarudio jina shetani, sitakuongea kuhusu shetani sana. Nazokuwa tunamglorify. 38 all over. So in this case, first of all, I'm supposed to multiply or use your, so this is 2 times a half is 1. So 10 plus 1. 10 plus 1 is 11. 10 plus 1 is 11. Plus 1. Otherwise, if you say like in your calculator 10 plus 2 equals times a half, you'll get in this case here, you'll get in this case here something very bad. You'll say it is 12 times a half, which is 6. If I have a good calculator, I'll simply say, without saying equals anywhere, I will say 10 plus 2 times a half equals final answer. So first of all, are we in agreement that this 11 is correct? Are we in agreement that this 11 is correct? Thank you so much. Great. So then what is 38 over 11? What is 38 over 11? What is 38 over 11? 38 over 11. 38 over 11. Thank you, Rachel and Jerry. We have 2 Jerry's this time around here. 3.45. 3.45. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So is there anybody, Victor, I saw your response. Thank you very much. Is there anybody who has a question regarding this? Please feel free to ask as many questions as possible. I'm a father to you. I'm a father to you. Actually, I'm surprised to see that most of you are married. I always thought that you guys are like fresh as from Form 4. Maybe you finished in your Form 4 in 2018, 2019. That's what I've always been thinking. Okay. Okay. Oh, fresher with this late. Okay. That was quite a wrong hypothesis. Great. But nevertheless, in the academia world, I'm your father. So, and your father, of course, there should be no secrets. You can hold the secrets with your mother, or withhold some information from your mother, but your father, you must always tell your father the whole truth. We are the best. We are the best. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome. Thank you. Great. Great. Thank you, Maggie, for asking that question. Remember, the only thing you give in form of fraction is the exchange ratio. All the other things you give as decimals, only exchange ratio. But every other thing, you shall always get it in form of what? Yeah, decimals. I can see Leshanta crying there that this topic has got very, very many formulas. Not really. They will become patterned, parcel as we as you proceed. They are very easy. You'll be singing them. I'll give you a secret. You can see at my age, I'm able to remember them without making any reference. You'll remember them. That one promise, I promise, and I always keep my promises. Great. So then we go to Roman 3. So Roman 3, they want us, ladies and gentlemen, in this case here to calculate again post-acquisition EPS. Post-acquisition EPS. Post-acquisition EPS. But now this time around, there is debenture stock. Post-acquisition EPS. Yes, dash. Acquisition. Fine. Now we shall be able to look at the LMS. Now we're looking at Roman 4, yes. We're looking at Roman 4. But Roman 4, they want us to give them post-acquisition earnings per share when we have acquired this targeted company using a loan. So using a loan like that. It doesn't matter. The very first thing I'll do is to write down the formula. Post-acquisition EPS. Post-acquisition EPS, of course, after marriage, I expect in this case here, my earnings plus earnings of the wife, in this case, to be put together. And because we are one thing, of course, we can have either person signing. There's no secrecy, either person signing all over nose 1 plus nose 2. By the way, when you realize that your husband has already started a lot of gambling, anacheza kamari, saa zingine ni kulazimishwa na mama muamini, give him that position of responsibility. We are very responsible when called upon to those high levels of responsibilities. Now, ladies and gentlemen, listen and listen to me very well, that if acquisition is through a debenture, through a debenture or preference share capital, the exchange ratio will always be equal to 0. Whenever acquisition, if you're told that this acquisition, the screen has a problem. Are you guys able to see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Are you guys able to see my screen? Then perhaps it is your ikosawa. Then perhaps it is your internet. It's okay, thank you. Then just check your internet. So if acquisition is through a debenture stroke preference share capital, the exchange ratio shall be equal to 0. So is there somebody in this case, ladies and gentlemen, who has been able to highlight this with a yellow highlighter? With a yellow highlighter without accusing me to being married to Serikali? No. I'm so particular about yellow highlighters even before, more than many years ago. Many years ago. Then you'll be able to watch the video, don't worry. So have you highlighted this? Have you? Anytime you go to a question and then you see that this question, ladies and gentlemen, is talking about acquisition is financed through a debenture or a preference share capital, then the exchange ratio will always be equal to 0. Very important there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please listen and listen to me very well. When we acquire a target company using a loan, then we're going to introduce a very important expense. This expense is called interest, which will reduce this. So minus interest, very important. If it's debenture, minus interest, and of course this interest must be after tax, because interest is a tax allowable expenditure. Interest is a tax allowable expenditure. Interest is a tax allowable expenditure. Now, you guys, could you kindly go ahead and tell me, what have they told us about number of shares? How many shares will this target company give us? Now, the target company will give us, 50 shares, 50 shares for every one debenture we give them. For every one debenture we give them. 50 shares for every one debenture we give them. And this debenture, each debenture is worth how much? Each debenture is worth how much? Each debenture is worth how much? Each loan instrument is worth how much? Are we together there really? I don't think we are together, and we're almost finishing 1,000. That they will give us 50 shares, and in its equivalent, we shall give them shillings, or rather one debenture, and each is going for. So this is same as saying 50 shares, we shall give them a loan over 1,000 like that. But now tell me, how many shares does this targeted company have in total? How many shares do we want to buy? Remember, this is a complete acquisition. How many shares are we getting from them? How many shares? Please go to that column. Column B. Are you able to see the number of shares? Thank you very much. So in this case here, these has 2 million, just write 2. It has, how about these 2 shares? Don't write million, don't introduce millions back. So in short, what I want to do here is to get the total loan. I'm doing a working for the total loan. I'm doing a working for the total loan. So come here and cross multiply. When you cross multiply, this will be 2 times 1,000, 2 times 1,000, 2 times 1,000, all over 50, all over 50, all over 50. So what is the total loan? What is the total loan, abracadabra? What is the total loan, abracadabra? What is the total loan, abracadabra? They are telling me it is 40. They are telling me it is 40. This is the total loan. What I am after is the interest. Have they told me the coupon rate of interest? Have they told me in that question what is the interest rate? In the question, what is the interest rate? Therefore, interest payable. Therefore, interest, it will be 8% of the total loan. I know the loan is in terms, this is 40 million, I know. But you see, all these figures are not, they don't have millions. They're minus those zeros. So it is 8% of 40, which will end up giving me Shigana. Shigana. This will end up giving me Shigana. Shigana is a German word for how much? Deng, Paul. Shigana is German word. 3.2, like that. 3.2, like that. So that is the interest payable. So then what we shall do is to come and plug in. What we shall do is to come and plug in. Now we have everything. Now we have everything. Can I rub this? Can I rub this? Can I rub this? Can I rub this? Can I rub this now? Yes. Thank you so much. Great, 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 great. And I need to be very serious as a teacher. I think I joke too much. I need to be too serious because at times, especially for those of you who still stay with their parents, your parents may wonder what type of a mwalimu is this now. They may value us at a lower amount as a school. So post-acquisition EPS, in this case here, is there somebody who is able to give me the earnings of company one? Earnings of company one. Earnings of company one. Earnings of company one. So earnings, remember, is net income company one. Net income company one. 35. So this is 35. Plus earnings of company two, you guys had given me a figure of 10. Earnings of company two, you guys had given me a figure of 10. Oh, it's 3. It is 3. It is 3. Interest, it's 3.2 times 0.7. I'm so sure ujaona nimetoa 0.7 wapi. Ujaona, uoni, ujaona. Najua ujaona nimetoa 0.7 wapi. Tax. Thank you very much. You guys are geniuses. Yes. It is 1 minus tax, and tax has been given as 0.3. Tax has been given as 0.3. Thank you very much, Tobias. Thank you very much. Then divide everything by number of shares of company 1. Number of shares of company 1, number of ordinary shares of company 1. These are the ones you guys had given me a figure of 10. These are the ones you guys had given me a figure of 10. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm alone. 10. And then we have in this case here, shares of company 2. Shares of company 2. 2. Times exchange ratio. This is something that most of them will not be able to remember. Somebody will tell me that exchange ratio is a half, and most of them actually will say it's a half, forgetting that. And I told them, in this case here, to highlight that whenever there is a debenture, whenever there is this interest, it's loan, then the exchange ratio should be equal to who? Don't worry. Exchange ratio should be equal to 0. Abracadabra. Could you kindly give me the value of the numerator? Please give me the value of the numerator. 35 plus 3 minus 3.2 times 0.7. Please give me the value there. Please give me the value here. Please give me the value here. So according to Bwana Silas, it is 35. Asante sana Mwangaza kwa kuuliza swali. You are a good student. Mwangaza, you see that 0.7 is 1 minus tax. And tax has been given down there as 30%. Thank you very much. I love students who ask questions, because at the end of the day, they also slow me down. They make the class more lively. So Mwangaza, are you able to see now how we got that 0.7? So Mwangaza, now I'm waiting for you to put thumbs up like this if you have seen. If you haven't seen, continue asking. Thank you, Mwangaza. You've seen. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So then I'm being given, the numerator here is 35.76. 35.76 all over 10. All over 10. 35.76 all over 10. So the final answer is 3.576. 3.576. 3.576. 3.576. 3.576. So is that okay? Is that okay? Is that okay? I would want to disappear, but I would also want, in this case here, to draw your attention to homework. Now, because we are not, we know that you're going to sit for these exams, I have to give you homework. So I would want all of us to do this homework question, which is November 2019, question number 5. November 2019, question number 5. We do it from the beginning. Don't ignore any theory. Homework, you do everything, theory and computations. So homework is November 2019, question number 5. Question number 5. That is the homework. As we disappear, those yellow liners, those yellow highlights, those are the key things that I would want you to take home. What are you able to remember about them? As a quick win. A quick low-hanging fruit as you go home. If in this case, not home, but as you step out of your study room, get outside there, you meet, in this case, your dear wife, who asks you, my husband, what have you been studying? We will tell, where? Chunga kazi yako. The homework question is November 2019, question number 5. So what? November 2019, question number 5. Great. So what are the key takeaways? What are the key takeaways? What are the key takeaways? When interest is given, exchange ratio is 0, which is the same as saying when it's a debenture acquisition, exchange ratio is 0. If post-acquisition is through debenture, exchange ratio is 0. Leshanta is getting 4.57. I don't know. 4.57. Leshanta, are you sure you used this body mass very well? Because you see the numerator here is 35.76. And this, of course, kills this. This is 10. Sometimes ensure that you don't put brackets. 35 plus 3 minus this times 0.7. Let's check again. I used 13. Don't worry, we shall overcome. So in this case here, normal exchange. Thank you so much. Normal exchange rate is offer price over MPS of the predator. You must be a good husband. Then what do you want me to do for you? Then I would want to do it many times. Then do you want me to do the homework then, or do you want me to What is the question? This one I can repeat, but homework Deng is yours, please. Homework is yours, Deng, please. That's yours to practice Deng, you know. This thing is supposed to be two-way. The question is not about mergers. What do you mean? Question. Then I'll check and post it. 2 types of exchange ratios, normal exchange ratio, maximum exchange ratio. It is a mergers question, yes. It is. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, please be blessed. See you again next week on Friday. Next week on Friday, I'll be interested to see how you are tackling this question, the homework question. I'll be so much interested to see how you're tackling it.